Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. So in today's tutorial, continue with our Flask introduction to Flask series that we began. We're going to be building a simple dashboard. So this will be left off from last time where were able to include build this table to display the user's transaction, whether being income, expense, and able to delete the different results and able to add. Now what is left now is just to create the dashboard, and you can see this link here should be taking us to the dashboard. So that's what we'll be doing in the next tutorial, in this tutorial rather. So we're going to be using Chart.js. So if you don't know what Chart.js is, you can just go to Google and then you search for Chart.js, and then you can find the link here. You can click on the documentation. It will take you to the official documentation about Chart.js. So if you don't know what Chart.js is just a library from JavaScript that you can use to plot graphs with minimal effort. So that's what we're going to be using to plot the graphs within our dashboard. See, okay, so now to use this, first of all, we can be able to download this for installation. We can be able to download this, or we can be able to use this from a CDN. So a CDN stands for Content Delivery Network, meaning that the content will be delivered to you through the online platform and you don't have to install anything. Okay, so just go get started, go to installations, and then click on this CDN. This should bring you to this page, and then in here just type in Chart.js. Okay, so this you can click on the first link, Chart.js. So it's just going to bring this to this page. So now you need to copy this script tag. Okay, so press on this and this will copy for you the script tag. Then you can go back to your Visual Studio Code. Okay, so I've created a simple file here called chart.html. You can create it anywhere you want, not necessarily within the project, but I just created it under the in the root directory. I created it there called Chart.js. So I'm simply going to create in here a simple boilerplate HTML template. So in here above the head, the title, I'm going to paste in that code that you've just copied from the Content Delivery Network. This will be enable us to use the JS library without having to install anything. Okay, so now it's just like Bootstrap, right? Because in Bootstrap we did the same thing. So that's the same stuff here. Now we need to be able to plot the graph. So let's go back to the official website. Just close this up. And then let's go to getting started. Go to Chart.js, and then you can see on the very first page they have this this code here. So I'm just going to copy it and then paste it, and then show you an example of what Chart.js is. So I'm going to copy and paste between the opening and closing body tags, and then I'm going to paste it right there. So now you need to open this. Now you can open this. You can open up your file finder, whatever it is that you're using, and then you can open this in Google Chrome just like this. So you can just open this in Google Chrome. Now you can see we have that chart right there. Okay, so you have the chart right there. But now let's try to scale it, make this a bit let me just control the size a bit. So max width should be 100, or so let's say max height is also max height is also 100. Okay, and I'm going to save that, Control S, and I'm going to go back to our site and then hit refresh. So now you can see we have scaled that a bit. So now this is how the chart looks like. You can see we have all these beautiful animations and all this beautiful beautiful stuff, and then we didn't even do any work for this, just copying and pasting code. We already have this a working graph that looks actually pretty standard and well made. Okay, you can see all these great animations and stuff like that. So that's what simply Chart.js enable us to do. So now let's take this concept and then now apply it to our application. So what we need to do first is we need to get the Content Delivery Network to be in our layer, in our layout file. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go to layout.html and paste it right here just below the Bootstrap Content Delivery Network link. Sorry, I pasted the wrong thing, so let me just undo this and come back to Chart.js and make sure I copy this. Okay, and then I'm coming here and I'm going to paste it here. So we have that the Content Delivery Network script just above the title of the title logic of our application. So now that we have that, now I'm just going to go ahead and create another file, HTML file. I'm going to call it dashboard.html. So I'm going to create a file. I'm going to call it dashboard.html, and I'm going to bring it here. So now I'm going to extend the layout, right, as we usually do. So I'm going to say extends, and then this will be layout.html, and then you're going to open and code blocks, open and close quotes, and say block. This is block content, and then this should down here we can close that block content. So this should just be block content as well. So we just say end this should be end block Okay, so now we're going to end that block. So in here, that's where we're going to keep in our logic to display our graph. So I'm going to go to chart.js, and I'm simply going to copy everything here. Okay, I'm going to copy everything here, copy it, and I'm going to move here, and I'm going to paste it here. Control V and paste it right there. So now that we have that there, let me just go ahead and actually create a route so that we can be able to route to this. So I'm going to create a route here. I'm going to call it app. It's just app.route, and I'm going to call it dashboard. This should be, don't forget the / in front, so this should be / dashboard. Then you're going to create a function. I'm going to call it dashboard. We're going to take in no parameters, so I'm going to return a render template. This template is going to be dashboard.html. That's all we're going to do. So now we can save this, refresh, start our development server again, go back to our site, and then in here we're going to do our /dashboard. So hit /dashboard, we can see we have that graph right there. So now we have that graph working on our application. So I'm going to go ahead and actually close this. So now if I take you, you can see the graph is very big and not controlled and not put in a, so I wanted to put it in a bootstrap card and make it look much prettier and maybe be able to control it. So I have my GitHub link pulled up here. I'm going to copy this canvas. So I'm going to copy this canvas, I'm going to copy it, and then I'm going to go back to our code section. Again, this code, you can find this code on my GitHub page. The link is in the description below. This is just a simple bootstrap card, and in here we're going to put in a canvas, because according to official documentation, we need a canvas because the graph will be drawn inside of the canvas. So I simply created a canvas here, and the graph will be drawn inside of that canvas, and that canvas is inside of a bootstrap card. That's all I did. So you can find the bootstrap card code on the bootstrap official documentation, or you can find it on my GitHub link, on my GitHub page. The link is in the description below. So I'm going to go to dashboard, and I'm going to delete everything that you have pasted right now. So I'm going to delete all of it. So I'm going to paste in our canvas right there. So now we have our canvas, right? So now I'm going to create another opening and closing body tag, and then this opening and closing body tag is going to store in our HTML, our JavaScript. So this could be JavaScript, just like that. And now we need to end that block. Okay, so end block, just like that. So we're going to end that block right there. So now that we have ended that block, I'm going to go back to chart, and I'm going to copy everything inside of the script except of the canvas. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to move to our dash, and I'm going to paste it right here. So we have that right there. So now we're going to draw this inside of which canvas? We're going to draw this inside of this canvas, right? This canvas has an ID, so we can be able to identify it within our JavaScript code. So I'm going to paste that ID here. So this, we're going to draw the canvas inside. I'm going to draw the graph inside of this canvas, and this canvas is inside of this bootstrap card. That will just make it look much more appealing. Okay, so I'm going to go to our server, check if our server is running. It is. I'm going to hit refresh. Now you can see we have our graph inside of that beautiful bootstrap canvas, and it looks much more prettier. So now that we have that, we are good to go. So this is just a template, right? This is just a template which I copy from the official documentation, right? The Chart.js official documentation. Now this is going to be the data, right? So this is going to be the data that you're going to be inputting. This is going to come from our database. So we're going to create a query to pull this data out that you're going to put in here. Okay, so that's the data that you're going to put in here, and then the labels are going to be the labels from our different columns within our columns and categories in our database. These are just some different colors and some specifications. Okay, so I'm going to go back to my GitHub link, and just to simplify this, I'm not going to go really in depth about the Chart.js and stuff like that. So just going to keep everything simple. This is just introduction course. If you want to read more about Chart.js, it's just a whole topic on its own. This is just to introduce you to the basics so that you can start from, have a foundation where you can start from. So I'm going to copy this. This is just going to enable us to scale our data a bit, to scale our graphs a bit. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to go in here, and I'm going to replace all of this. I'm going to delete all of this, and I'm going to paste that in here. This is just going to allow us to scale our graphs a bit. So I'm just going to tap in there to fix that indentation. So now that we have that, I'm going to go ahead and actually copy this link. So this link, this plot right here is going to display our income versus expenses plot. So I'm going to copy this code. Again, this code is on my GitHub link, so you can find it on there. So I'm going to paste it in here. It's a bit lengthy to type out, that's why I just copied and pasted it, so that we can save ourselves a lot of time. So tap that, and then Yeah, we have that right there. So now this is where we're going to input our data. Now we don't have that data, so I'm going to put in here some values. I'm going to put in 5,000 and 7,000. Okay, so 5,000 and 7,000. So this will be our income, and then this will be our expense, rather. So this part will be our expense, and then this will be our income. Okay, so if you want to reverse it, you just have to bring income here and then expense here, and then you interchange these values of the data as well. So now that we have that, we are good to go. So we need to create a canvas. Now I didn't copy the part for the canvas, so let me just come back here and check. So we did copy the chart for new chart. Yeah, income expense chart. Yeah, that's all we need to do. So yeah, that's all we need to do. So now we can just go back to our site and then try to refresh it, and then let's see what we have. Okay, we have an error there. It doesn't display the chart, so let's see where we are going wrong. So we're just saying that new chart, we're creating the chart, income expense chart, and then we are saying that income versus expense, which is going to be this right here. We're going to put this right here, and then you're going to say let this, and then type pie chart, the data labels and other stuff like that. So why is it not working? Let's check where it's getting stuck. So income expenses, just copy this, income expense chart, new income expense chart. Let me see where it's going wrong. Income expense chart, everything seems to be right at this point. Yeah, everything seems to be right. You can spot the error where the error is. So income expense chart, the data is going to be a list, and then the labels are those labels right there. Type is that one, or what's giving us the error? Let me just try to mute this one for now. Comment that out and then try to refresh our site. Yeah, so that was the error. So the error is here, so I don't know why that we have that error. Let me check, make sure I copied everything right. So this is just chart. We are scaling our chart. Okay, that seems to be giving us an error. Let me just copy and paste it one more time. Okay, hit save on this, and then I refresh it. It doesn't show up, so the error is actually just here. So for now I'm just going to comment it out, and whenever I'm just going to comment this out, and I'll be back to that. So whenever I figure it out, I'll make that update on the GitHub link. Okay, so I'm just delete that part for now, save that, and then come back here and then refresh. This one works, our graphs works fine. So you can see the expenses is 5,000 and the incomes is 7,000. So well done. So now we need to get this data from our database. So now I'm just going to routes, and then going to our dashboard, the dashboard route. And then inside of the dashboard route, this is what you're going to do. You're going to get some data from our database, right? And then this data is we're going to call it income, income underscore versus expenses, right? So I'm going to call income versus expenses. This is going to be db.session.query, and then this query, inside of the query we're going to put in a function. So we're going to go db.func, and then we're going to find the sum function, and then we're going to simply going to do is db.income.amount. We're going to find the sum of the amount, and then you're also going to get the income, db.income.type. We're going to get the type, and then after we get the type, we're going to group it by. So we're going to group by group underscore by, and then we're going to group by income expenses.type, and then you're going to order by, you're going to order it by income expenses.type, and then you're going to get all. That's all. It's a bit lengthy to type out, but that's the code. So yeah, that's all we're going to do. Now that we have done that, now we need to go into create another list here. So income underscore expense. So the reason why we are creating this list is that I want to create a JSON and pass that JSON into our HTML, our JavaScript. So income expense, I'm going to call it income expense, and I'm going to simply go create an empty list. So I'm going to look for total underscore amount comma underscore in. This is going to be income expenses, and I'm going to say income this is income underscore expense dot append. You're going to be appending the total underscore amount, just like that. You're going to be embedding the total amount. So that's all we need to do. Now that we have this list, we need to pass this list into a JSON. So I've imported in here import JSON. So I'm going to come in here, down here, and inside we're going to pass it to our template. I'm going to simply pass in here. I'm going to say income. This is income underscore ves underscore expenses equals to just we're going to say that JSON dot dump s. We're going to dump the string, and then what you're going to be dumping in there is going to be income expense, the list which we've just created. So we're going to pass that list into our JavaScript file. So when we come into our JavaScript file, it's just going to be here. We need now to get that. So we're going to say let, I'm going to say let income underscore expenses. This is just going to be JSON dot pass, and then you're going to pass in we're going to say income versus expenses. I believe we could recall it here, we called it income versus expenses. So we're going to come in here, we're going to pass income versus expenses, and we're going to pass it to convert it into JSON. So that's all we need to do. You can end that with a semicolon. Now don't worry about these errors, these are just there for warning, but the code is not actually wrong. Okay, so now that you have done that, you have just passed into our JavaScript JSON object. So now we can replace this here with this value right here. So copy this, and then I'm going to replace this value with a specific value. So I'm going to save that, and then check if our site is running. Start the server again, and then go back to the site, and then refresh it. So we have an error, income undefined. Why is that error? Okay, db.session. Okay, so it's going to be in here. So db session db income expenses income. Okay, this is income expenses dot type. So income expense dot type, save that, and then I'm going to refresh that page. So we still have an error, object of type undefined, not serializable. Okay, so we have here something that is not serializable. Okay, so let's check income expenses. This is income expenses, income versus expenses. Copy that, and then I'm going to go back in here, and then this should be income versus expenses, not expense. Okay, so I'm going to save that, and I'm going to come up here and then refresh. Hopefully we don't have an error. So you can see we have that from our database, and from our database the expenses are 9444, and then the income is 5000. If I go back to our dashboard here, you can see this plus this makes expenses, while this one makes income. So that's that. So now that we have that, that's working fine. So let me just go back to / dashboard. Our chart is working now. Great. So now let's go ahead and actually draw the next graph. The next graph that we're going to draw is going to be the one that is going to be storing it's going to show the expenses over a period of time. So that's what we're going to be drawing. So we need to go back to our routes. So we're going to go to our routes here, and then up here we're going to create another thing. We're going to call it dates, and it is going to show a line plot that is going to show us our expenses over a period of time. Okay, so I'm going to call it date. I'm going to db.session query. This is going to be a query. This query we're going to we're going to say db.func.sum. We're going to find the sum of income expenses dot amount, and then we're going to get income expenses dot date. We're going to get income date. We're going to then dot group by. You're going to group by income expenses dot date, and then income expenses dot date, and then you're going to do dot order by. You're going to be ordering by the income expenses dot date, and then you're going to get all. So that's all you're going to do. So this query is going to return to us the dates, the expenses, and the dates and their corresponding dates. So now we also need to pass this informal JSON. So I'm going to say over underscore time expenditure, and this is just going to be an empty list, and I'm going to say dates underscore labels, and then this is going to be an empty list as well. So I'm going to for this is going to be a for loop. This is going to be for amount. This is going to be amount comma dates in dates. This is going to be dates, and then what you're going to say, overtime expenditure dot append. You're going to append here amount, the amount and then you're going to say dates underscore label dot append, and then you're going to append the date just like that. This is date. Yeah, that's what we're going to do. So now that we have that, we're going to dump it in form of a JSON and pass it to our template. So I'm going to come here, I'm going to say over underscore time underscore expenditure over time expenditure. This will be JSON dot dump s. We're going to dump s, and we're going to say over time expenditure. That's all. And then you're also going to go to dates underscore label equals to JSON dot dump s, and then you're going to pass in here. I'm going to pass in here the dates underscore label underscore this is dates underscore label. That's all we're going to do. So now that we have that, we can go ahead and actually plot a canvas for that, and then we can be able to draw the plot here. Okay, so first of all, we need to draw a canvas for it. So I'm just going to copy this, and I'm going to do paste it down here, and this will just be we can call it linear, we can call it expenses underscore over underscore, sorry, this is expenses, this is over time. So we're going to call this expenses over time. And now we need to plot the graph here. So we also need to get this. So I'm going to copy this, and I'm going to paste it below this graph right here. So I'm going to paste it here, and I'm going to paste it here. So this is just going to be this value, and this value is going to be the income expense that you're going to pass. So this is going to be the dates. This is going to be the dates, and then we also have the dates, and then we also have the one for the amount for that specific date, right? So that's what we're going to do. We're going to call it dates, and then we're going to come here and then copy the dates label, and then you can come back here and then paste it in here. So paste that in here. Yeah, so we're going to do the same. We're going to say let, and then this is going to be amount equals to JSON dot parse, and then you're going to pass this. This is just going to be the amount for which you passed in here. This expenses over time. Copy that, and then paste it here, and then a pipe symbol to JSON, just like that. Yeah, so now we have that there. Let's go ahead and actually we have that there. Let's go and actually plot the graph. So I have already plotted this on my GitHub page, so let's not waste a lot of time with that. So let's just go and grab that link. So this is it. So this is just a very simple line, few lines of code. It's going to plot for us the line curve. See, it's just few lines of code. So I'm going to copy that, and I'm going to paste it in here. So I'm going to paste it here, and then the dates, the labels will be the dates. So I'm going to copy this and then paste it here. So this is Control C, copy that properly, copy, paste, and then the dates will be the label expenses. The dates will be expenses over time. This is just the amount, right? Control V. So now we have that. I can save this, and then we can go back to our site, and then we can refresh this. So our server has stopped running, so I'm going to start the server again, and then refresh this page. So we have an error again. It says that label dates labels, it's giving us an error here. So let's go to routes, and then the routes are going to say date labels is that one, and then the expense is that one. So let's copy that properly and paste it right here. So date label, Control V. So the expenditure, copy that as well, and then paste it over here. Okay, I hope everything is fixed now. Let's try to refresh this. Okay, we have the same error. Object of date time is not serializable. Object of date time is not serializable. Okay, so let's see where we have gone wrong. So the paste label, the labels will be the date. We're converting it to a JSON. So where the error is, we need to find that error. So let's call this back labels, copy that labels, and then paste it here. Just change the names. Okay, this is a B, this is also a B. So save that, and then let's try to trace this back to the route. So we loop through it, and then we got the date. So for amount comma date in this one, for the date we pasted in the the dates, right? So for the dates labels, we're going to pass in date labels dot append date. okay, which is this object here, and then the time expenditure dot append the amount. So okay, so we see the dates here. We made an error, so we see the dates part. We need to pass the date into a string, so into strf strf time, and we're going to pass in here a string. I'm going to say percentage. I'm going to say the date, and then dash, and then the percentage, and then the day, and then dash, and then percentage. We want the year. That's how I want it to be formatted. I want to format this time into a string because it was a date object, and date objects are not serializable. That's why we're getting that error. So now that we have that, it doesn't show us our graph. So let's see why the graph doesn't show up. So it doesn't display any content inside of the graph. So let's trace it back here. So labels will be the labels, the amounts will be the amounts. So we're going to pass this. It doesn't show the content, so let's see why it doesn't display the content. Okay, labels expenditure over time. This is actually expenses over time, right? So we need to copy that, and also need to replace it here. So paste it there, and then hopefully there are no more errors. So yeah, we have that expenditure right there, but I want it to be here so we can find a way to shift it. So let's go back to the official document, to my GitHub page, and then let's see why that graph is not centered that way as I wanted it. So I think because of the shape of the scaling of the data, I didn't scale it. So I'm just trying to grab this again, and I'm going to copy this and then try to scale our graph so that we can have a nice display for those graphs. Just paste it here. So it doesn't display properly, it doesn't. So we're going to say charts. I can see the error why it is not displaying the template as it should, but let's just figure it out why. So it's saying charts.scale.update and then this update. So why is it not working as it should? So we said this is chart.scale service, and then let me try to end this semicolon. Semicolon. So the time ticks and everything is there. It doesn't display. Okay, let's try to save it now, and then let's try to refresh it. So it gives us an error. So why doesn't it run? Let's just remove it for now, and let's find a way to scale our chart so that that graph works fine. So refresh this. So I want this to be up here next to this one, and I want to reduce the size of that one as well. So relative position, relative column 6 MD, margin bottom is 2, is 6. I want it to be 6 and 6. So let me just try to make it to be 5, and this should be 5 as well. To reduce the size so that it can be on the same line. I don't want it to be on different lines. Okay, so that's what I wanted to do. So let me just try to refresh this again. So it doesn't actually display on the same line. So Control Z. Let me undo what I just did. So block content, displaying the block JavaScript. It doesn't display as it should. The reason for this is just we need to make it to be on the float on the left. So maybe we can actually put in another div because it was previously floating on the left. Maybe we need to put in another div so that we can be able to bring this right here. So because I want it to be right here next to this one, so that you can have like that grid kind of display, right? So let's try to get that working. So let me just go back to my GitHub page. Maybe I can find the code there because I've already written the code. Let's just try to copy the code and see why it's not displaying the way I want it to display in the grid format. So we said div column 6, then this is the div layout, the div. Let's check the layout code, and then we see why it's not displaying the way we want it to display. Then we just, if you display it in form of grid, and then we'll basically be done. So I'm just going to go to layout, and then I check if there is any code that I didn't add. So this was the previous CDN that we used. So let's try to use this CDN instead of the one that we used. Maybe it's the cause of the error. let me just copy this CDN. I'm going to copy it, and I'm going to go back to our program, and I'm going to go to layout, and then inside of here I'm going to replace this CDN with the one that we have just copied, and I'm going to go to charts here. So I'm going to go to this part, and then I'm going to go to my GitHub link again, try to refresh this. Yeah, now it has been scaled a bit. So now I'm going to go to I think it has been different versions of the same application, so I'm going to come up here, and I'm going to grab this so we can be able to scale that a bit. I'm going to paste it right here to see if that will work. Then I'll save that, refresh this, and our page refresh. Yeah, everything works fine, but now we need to move this right here. So that's what we need to figure out, how to move the grid to the side of the code, to the side of the panel. I mean, to be like a grid kind of display. One thing we can do, we can put this information and actually paste in there. So I'm going to go to the GitHub link, and I'm going to copy the code from GitHub link, and I'm going to paste it here. So before we can do that, we know that you need to change this part as well. So I'm going to say div, and then in here I need to say in the routes that you're going to. So I'm going to say URL underscore 4, and then in here I need to pass in dashboard, right? So this dashboard, just like that, and then we can save that. So this is going to return to us to our dashboard. So when I click this, it's going to take us to /dashboard, which is the current dashboard that we are. So when I go to the home page and I click this, it's going to bring us to the dashboards. Now all we need to do is to find a way to center this, and I think I'll just copy the code from my layout and then paste it right there. That will fix for us that error. So I'm going to go to layout, and I'm going to copy the code. I'm going to go to row, and I'm going to select everything, and I'm going to and paste it there. So I'm going to come in here and to layout, and Control A, and I'm going to paste everything right here. So we have that right there. So I'm going to save this, and then I'm going to reload our page again, and then refresh this. So now we have that right there. So the problem was probably in my layout. I forgot a piece of code, but save time, let's not try to debug it. So let's just copy and paste that code right there. So we have that layout working for us properly, and all the links are working. And then we can go in here, we can change this, you can add and stuff like that. So everything works fine. So now we are able to draw that graph. So let's try to add more data in here. I'm going to go 4,000. It's going to be income, and then it's going to be, say, salary, and then append that, and then I'm going to go into. And here you can see the graphics have changed, right? So it reflects according to the changes. So that's how you can easily it is to plot your graph. So now that we have that there, we can actually plot different graphs, like the previous code, the finished project that I showed you. You can actually plot different kinds of graph, and then you can go back to the official documentation here and read about it. So I'm going to leave that up to you. The code is on my GitHub link, so you can find the code for different graphs. I plotted like 4 different graphs, so you can find the link there. Then you can go ahead and actually plot the graph of your choice. I have plotted a graph to show the different categories of expenses, the different categories of whether income, expenses, how much you're spending, where you're spending most of your money. So this is going to be on my GitHub link, so you can find the code on my GitHub link. You can simply copy and paste it, and then try to understand how the code works. Again, you can also refer to the official documentation, and then you can learn how to plot those different graphs. Okay, so yeah, this is what basically the project is all about. I'm going to leave the rest for you as an assignment, and you can practice on different ways to plot different graphs, and then you can plot those different graphs right there, and then you can see we have the graph reflecting right there. So that's all there is to plotting these different graphs. Okay, so you can go and read more about it to find how to plot these different graphs, and the link is on the official documentation on the Chart.js official documentation. You can find it there, and then you can read more about it. So that's all for this tutorial. I hope you enjoyed this series so far. You have learned a lot about how to make a simple dashboard using Flask and Chart.js, HTML, CSS, and other stuff. So now you can progress to doing different projects. For example, you can see even this project can be used to build a simple to-do list, right? You can build a to-do list by using this knowledge. You can build a simple website for someone that you want, or for yourself, your portfolio, and stuff like that. So I hope you enjoyed this series so far. If you like the videos, please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I'm just setting up my YouTube channel, so supporting my channel, subscribing to my channel will be a great deal of help to me. So guys, thanks for watching. If you have any feedback on how I'm performing making this series, please let me know and help me to improve. I'm just beginning out my journey. So yeah, this is my first major series on the YouTube, so I hope you enjoyed it so far. So thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial, yeah, the next series probably. So thanks for watching. Keep safe.